What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Bears Media Company. I am your host, Brent C. And after taking some time to review and look through the tape again, today we're talking about our Chicago Bears defense. The good, the bad, and the extreme ugly. Started off good, but as you know, we gave up 21 unanswered points. Unreal. Now, it's your first time here, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit the like, leave a comment below, and let's talk about the latest loss for our Chicago Bears. Now, starting off, I said this is the good. That will be the first half of this game. I mean, they came out with a little bit more energy than last week, and even though they gave up a Denver touchdown on their first series, I can say that they were at least looking like they were ready to fight for the day. And after that touchdown, they were actually fighting for our team. So what happened? Well, starting off, we had great play by our linebackers. In that first half, Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, Jack Sanborn, they looked good. Sideline to sideline tackles, stopping running backs from getting any extra yards. Looked pretty darn good. Our defensive line, a veteran defensive line. Now, they look good in spots. It seems that, as games go on, they're getting better and better at what they're doing. Now, only one sack in the entire game for the defense, but at least they were looking solid for the most part. I mean, with guys like DeMarcus Walker, Yannick Ngakoue at the ends, Billings and Jones at DT. Hey, these are veteran guys. All of them have at least 5 years in the league. So it's not like we've got a bunch of rookies starting there, right? They played in that first half with a little bit of urgency. So I'm hoping going forward that they maintain that urgency. Now, as I said, that first half, after the touchdown to the Denver Broncos in the first quarter, they settled down, started playing well. And this game, remember, we had no Jalen Johnson, no Eddie Jackson. So, once again, two of our starting cornerbacks were our rookies, Tyreek Stevenson and David Terrell. So, if Denver wanted to really push the issue, they didn't seem like they didn't really try. But, hey, at least those guys weren't just getting blown out the water as rookies, right? Now, safety-wise, Jaquan Brisker, hey, he came to play, had some pressure early on in the first half, looked real good, solid tackling, which we expect from Jaquan Brisker. So, everything was working well. They forced some 3 and outs of that Denver offense. So, the first half, you couldn't be mad. Things were running very well. Now, as you know, Matt Eberflus, he's calling the plays for our defense. And that first half, even though, like I said, they looked decent, they looked good. Basically, they were average that first half, but they didn't have the Kansas City Chiefs effect. Let's just say that. They weren't just getting walked down the field in that first half. So I got to say, kudos to them and to Matt Eberflus in that first half. It just seems that, they were a little bit more prepared. Not sure if it takes games for everybody to start figuring out their roles or working together. but they actually look fairly decent. So that's a good thing for them. Now, unfortunately, we play 4 quarters in NFL football games. All right? So one thing I can say, late in the game, the defense started getting tired. Not sure how. I mean, like I said, we got a veteran group from on the defensive line, linebackers, partially in the safeties. So it's not like we don't have guys that don't know what they're doing. So it's just one of those things where maybe if we can just become more consistent and playing fundamental football, maybe, just maybe, this defense could start looking so average, it might start looking above average. But we're going to have to see. So let's go through some numbers, right? So TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds, both of those guys for the game, 8 total tackles each. TJ Edwards had 2 QB hits, which is always a positive when your linebackers, which play close into the line of scrimmage, they can get over and get some pressure on the quarterback. It's something that us Bears fans have been talking about just about every game. Where's the blitzing? Where's the pressure? Well, we got a little bit of it today. Not enough. As usual, not enough. But, we applied some pressure. Now, Jack Sanborn, he had 5 total tackles on the day. Now, he got a bad, call on him early in that first quarter. It just seemed that he came to play like he always does. I got to say that. He just seemed ready. The entire linebacker crew looked ready. I got to say that. It wasn't just Jack Sanborn. The entire linebacker crew was ready to play on Sunday against these Denver Broncos. Now, as I said before, that veteran defensive line, those guys should be helping keeping the linebackers clean so they can move up, help out in the run support, or fall back into pass coverage without having to worry too much about, getting dinked and dunked down the field. So our front 7, I know, we rush 4 only, the defensive line, just 4 rushers. So we put a lot of pressure on the linebackers, the safeties, and the corners. They have to hold. Now, that first half, I'm going to say it, they actually looked good. They held their part. Now, it wasn't all perfect, as always. This Bears defense has got to do extraordinary things just to be an average defense. Will it come? We're hoping so. We got a short week with the Washington Commanders on Thursday. We just hope that they could just hold together. Now, the Washington Commanders just took the Philadelphia Eagles to overtime in their loss on Sunday. So it's not like the Commanders are some soft team. They definitely can move the ball, running it and throwing it. So we got to be careful. So listen here, the numbers. TJ Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds, like I say, they played solid. But tackles for loss, Tremaine Edmonds with 1. Terrell Smith, our cornerback, with 1. Also, DeMarcus Walker and Greg Stroman with tackles for loss. So the team is rounding into a solid group. It's just that they just fall apart at the wrong times. And for the Chicago Bears, that wrong time, it was the 4th quarter. Now, at the half, it's 21-7. So like I said, that first half, the defense was playing. They were doing what they're supposed to do, tackling, limiting big plays, forcing some 3 and outs. So it looked like a very, very solid day for our Chicago Bears. Start of the fourth quarter, 28-14. You would think with 15 minutes to play, we would be able to just hold it down and get the win, our first win. But it didn't happen. So where did it start to go wrong? Right there at the start. Well, actually at the end of the third quarter when Denver got that touchdown to make it 28-14. Now, of course, a fumble scooped up for a touchdown by Justin Fields wasn't good. Made it 28-21. It was just one of those things that, you can look at it and say, hey, Justin Fields needs to hold on to the ball. But in the end, we're talking about the defense today, and the defense needed to hold. And they did, just about through three quarters. Now moving into that fourth quarter. So, at the start of the fourth quarter, like I said, the defense, they're playing decent, but that whole cover two, bend but not break philosophy started showing cracks. Now, you know as well as I do, if you're playing man in the first half, you're holding the Denver Broncos to 7 points in the first half. Why would you change it up? You started playing soft zone coverage. Now, Russell Wilson is a veteran quarterback. A veteran. Super Bowl winning veteran quarterback. Don't give him nothing easy. And in that fourth quarter, the defense started giving up plays. Now in that first half, they were getting some stops on third downs. Now they were still giving up some big plays, but in that fourth quarter, when you needed them to tighten down, they definitely were not ready to play in that fourth. Example number one, I believe it was a 3rd and 16. What did they do? They gave up 26 yards. Looked like there wasn't any communication with the DBs, and Russell Wilson saw it, hit it. Like I said, that's a veteran quarterback back there. We have to play smarter, and that comes back to our coaches, especially Matt Eberflus. Matt Eberflus, you're calling your defense. The whole hits principle that you created for your team, not on display. Our defense can't get off the field on third downs, and it continued against the Broncos, especially in the fourth quarter. Not sure if the defense was just tired. Not sure if they just started, once the zone came in, did they just say, okay, maybe if we, bend between the 20s, once we get into the red zone, we'll be much better. But you got to play hard, and you got to play man, which got us to that only, holding the Denver offense to 7 points. You can't hold everybody down to 7 points, but to do it through almost three quarters, it says something. So why the switch up? I don't know, Bears fans. It looked like Matt Eberflus just decided that, hey, we're going to do our best to limit the big plays, but on third downs, what did Denver do? They started getting big plays. Now, it's not to say that the defensive line wasn't getting any pressure. They were getting some pressure. Although, the only sack in the game was by Dominique Robinson and Zach Pickens early in the first half. But they were making things a little bit more uncomfortable for Russell Wilson. Unfortunately, he still has a little bit more mobility left in his legs, so he was getting outside the box and, getting it downfield. And that's, like I said, that's when we just started to fold. Discipline. Matt Eberflus has talked about being a disciplined football team. I've said it. If we can just play fundamental football, we should be good to go. But that fourth quarter, that discipline factor, it started sliding. And once it started sliding, I mean, we just giving up plays. Giving up plays. The run game for Denver, it started the roll. And before you know it, and of course, just let me say this, I know the strip fumble and return for a touchdown off the offense wasn't good. Got it to 28-21. But defense, your job is to limit these big plays. Come on now. So it was just a rough fourth quarter for our defense. So Bears fans, I'm sure most of you were watching as the defense started crumbling, as the mistakes on offense, the penalties on offense just started rolling and we looked bad. There's a little bit of optimism there that, hey, that defense, they can play, and they can play somewhat mistake-free football for a time period. But when we really need our defense, ladies and gentlemen, that fourth quarter, they were not able to do it. So, going into Washington this Thursday, I hope and pray that Matt Eberflus just buckles down. I mean, it's not looking good for him and his staff at this point. I mean, we are now 0-4. To be 0-5 to start this season would be a complete disaster. Complete disaster. I mean, it already looks pretty darn bad. So we got to do better. Now with that, Bears fans, I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. I hope that we get a win against Washington. I almost called them the Redskins. I hope we get this win and we can finally get on track to have a complete game on all three phases. So stick with us. Stick with the team. We got a lot of football left to go there. Hopefully it gets better. So with that, I'm going to get out of here. And as always, hit that subscribe button. Roll with your boys here. Brent C. at BearsMediaCo. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.